On July 2nd, in an interview with the leftist portal The Wire, Jammu Kashmir National Conference leader and Srinagar's newly elected MP, Ruhullah Mehdi, almost threatened the Indian government, stating that the anger of Kashmiris over Article 370 removal could erupt any time in the future, just as it did 40 years after the independence.
1953 में इसी तरह का एक काम किया गया कांग्रेस की तरफ से, सेंटर की तरफ से। हमारी ऑटोनॉमी छीनी गई, प्राइम मिनिस्टर शेख अब्दुल्ला साहब जो थे मरहूम, उनको बंद किया गया। उसके बाद 40 साल तक इसी तरह का माहौल था कश्मीर में। एवरीवन वाज ऑफ द ओपिनियन कि कश्मीर का मसला सेटल है, वहाँ पे ना कोई गुस्सा है, ना कोई प्रोटेस्ट है, ना कुछ है। बट व्हाट हैपन, जो कश्मीर के लोगों में गुस्सा था वो 40 साल के बाद उभर के आया। So do not get fooled. 2019 में हमने जो किया, ये अब जो हालात ये परमानेंट है।
In a nearly 44-minute long interview with the Wire's Arfa Khanum Sherwani, Ruhullah Mehdi made several remarks that echoed the Pakistani narrative and attempted to whitewash Islamic terrorism instead of addressing the genuine concerns of common Kashmiris. Interestingly, this is the same JKNC MP who recently claimed in the maiden parliamentary speech that Article 370 was abrogated by the parliament within half an hour. He was promptly corrected by the Lok Sabha Speaker, who reminded him that the bill to repeal Article 370 was discussed for 9.5 hours before its passage.
मैं ये गुजारिश करूंगा, सबसे बड़ा इदारा है जमहूरियत का, यहाँ पे ऐसी मिसाल नहीं होनी चाहिए थी और आप उसके कस्टोडियन थे। जब 370 की बिल 1 मिनट में लाई गई और आधे घंटे में पास की गई, आधे घंटे में पास की गई।
प्लीज बैठिए, आप रहिए, इनको ज्ञान नहीं है, उस पर 9.5 घंटे तक डिबेट हुई थी। चलो बैठे, चलिए।
In the interview, Mehdi cherry-picks incidents of violence to propagate the Musalman Khatre Mein Hai narrative, referring to BJP MP Ramesh Bidhuri's remarks against BSP MP Danish Ali in Lok Sabha last year, wherein Bidhuri had called the latter a terrorist and later apologized. Mehdi claimed that common Muslims and other oppressed minorities are being targeted. He cited incidents of Dalits being beaten and Muslims being mob lynched. He also mentioned that Sikhs are labelled as Khalistanis when they seek their rights, and Christians are called missionaries when they step out for social work. While violence against anyone for their caste and religious identity is condemnable, Mehdi conveniently ignored incidents that did not fit his narrative, such as the killing of Praveen Netaru by PFI's Islamic terrorist. Even the Allahabad High Court recently warned that if religious conversions at such congregations continue, the majority Hindu community would be reduced to a minority. And who can forget that not a day goes by without a love jihad case being reported? Yet these incidents are often dismissed by certain ecosystems as hoaxes or propaganda against Muslims. But Ruhullah Mehdi will not demand justice for the victims of love jihad, as it does not suit his narrative. Similar to what Mehdi said, Pakistani political leaders also peddle the narrative that minorities, particularly Muslims, who form the second largest religious group in India, are apparently under threat from the Hindu majoritarian government. Mehdi's comments, whether intentionally or not, support this sinister narrative, aimed at deepening divisions in the Indian society. During this interview, when asked about his secular stand, Mehdi downplayed the 1990 Kashmiri Hindu genocide as mere a hadsa, claiming that both Muslims and Pandits were victims of this militancy. This grossly understates the planned and systematic killing and exodus of Kashmiri Hindus who were forced to flee their homes overnight, abandoning everything. Who can forget how mosques made declarations urging Hindu men to flee, leaving their women behind, and chanted inflammatory slogans like convert, leave, or die? It was not an accident, but a calculative genocide driven by an ideology instilled in Kashmiri youth by groups like Jamaat Islami since the 1960s. The same ideology that led to the creation of the Hizbul Mujahideen and fueled the violence that displaced thousands of Kashmiri Hindus. Ruhullah Mehdi also dismissed the events shown in the film The Kashmir Files and called them untrue. He also questioned the reality of horrific incidents depicted in the movie. He conveniently overlooked the atrocities committed against Kashmiri Pandits, including gang rapes, brutal murders. Ironically, Mehdi belongs to the same political party that ruled Jammu and Kashmir just before the rise of Islamic terror. Farooq Abdullah's government freed 70 Pakistan-trained terrorists between July and December 1989, a move that undoubtedly contributed to the escalation of violence in the valley. Mehdi's refusal to accept the Supreme Court's verdict on the abrogation of Article 370 is not just a political statement, but a challenge to the rule of law in this country, in India. His stance aligns with the Pakistani narrative that the abrogation is illegitimate, thereby risking future destabilization of Jammu and Kashmir. By rejecting the Supreme Court's verdict, Mehdi lends credence to Pakistan's claims, which can be exploited on the international stage. While Jammu and Kashmir may not yet be a utopia, it is gradually moving towards peace and development. Raking up the Article 370 issue again seems like an attempt to incite public unrest and fuel the separatist sentiments. Ruhollah Mehdi's comments suggesting that Kashmir's anger will erupt again as it did 40 years ago implicitly legitimizes violence as a response to political grievances. This is just an attempt to fuel passions and could lead to an escalation in tensions, ultimately resulting in violence. Thanks for watching.